because I'm just like you. I consume everyone I love.
But then I realized I'm just like you. I consume everyone I love. Dexter Morgan. That's a big revelation we got here. I'm sitting here with Lauren Gussis, writer of the episode. Yay!
Yay! Yay!
You've been on to the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's been stinking fantastic. Everyone should get a chance in their life to work with Lauren Gussis.
Oh, that's
maybe
sweet.
not everyone, but
everyone should get a chance to work with Scott Reynolds.
Maybe
it's totally true.
So the name of your episode, What's Eating Dexter Morgan?
Right.
Yeah. Is that like one of your favorite movies?
I wouldn't say that. I would just say that it seemed totally appropriate, considering
Yeah.
I kind of always like to do a wordplay with the titles of my episodes. So
yes, it is true.
Yeah.
And you've always liked cannibals.
I have a thing for cannibals. No, the first scripted thing that I ever wrote that was filmed was like a TV sketch thing for my high school, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a cannibal cooking show. So it felt kind of apropos that my last episode of Dexter ever, there would be cannibalism. So
yeah.
I was pretty excited. It was like a throwback.
For the record, we were all excited to finally get a cannibal show.
It's really fun.
It took us a while.
Yeah.
Because there's quite a few cannibal serial killers.
Right. But it always feels like slightly hyper real.
Yeah.
And, we were scared that it wasn't going to fly. But
play it out well.
Yeah. It was great.
So let's talk about Dexter in this episode.
Okay.
I mean, it's he's got quite a journey.
Yeah.
Because he's dealing with Deborah.
Right.
And then on the surface of it, it feels like a good old fashioned Dexter Morgan episode where he's stalking, hunting, killing somebody. He's got this list that he's following that Vogel set up. Right.
Except that the person he ultimately ends up killing isn't the person that he set out to kill in the first place.
Yeah. Well, that'll happen sometimes.
Right. Sometimes.
I guess.
It's a bonus. It was a bonus for him. A little bonus kill.
Anyway.
Sorry, we're waiting for me to just say.
No. We're talking about Dexter's journey this episode.
Right.
That on the surface, it's a regular sort of stalk and kill of somebody, and yet he has this giant Deb problem.
Right. That kind of gets thrown into the mix in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deborah.
Yeah.
You're a guardian of Deborah.
A little bit, I am.
Yeah. I feel like you and Tim both are, when we're all, our heads are like up our asses about this great, what's the great Dexter moment? What's the great Dexter kill? How does he find a serial killer? You guys are always like, wait, Deborah.
Well, yeah, and also emotion. Like, where's the emotion?
For sure. Yeah, well, like the theme of this episode, what would you say is the theme?
I would say
that is important to you.
It's super important to me.
Yeah, you start there.
That is, yeah. Where I start. I would say it's about being consumed. I feel like, which I think is really fun in terms of cannibalism, just like kind of supporting that kind of a theme. But I think Deb is really consumed with her guilt over what she did to LaGuardia, and Dexter is consumed with this feeling of responsibility over what happened to his sister, and also responsibility for Vogel.
Right.
And so those things kind of wove together and supported each other really nicely, I felt.
And in the middle of that, like part of what's consuming him is he's trying to protect Dr. Vogel, this like new piece of family that he has,
His spiritual mother.
Yeah, which leads him to Galuzzo.
Right.
Which is oddly enough named after our own Rob Galuzzo.
Rob G.
I actually went to him and asked him if it was okay. Because he's a big fan of the show.
Right.
Because some people might not be.
Right. Some people might not be okay with having a cannibal named after them.
Well, actually, I said yes in a heartbeat because he just said, can I name a killer after you? And I'm like, yeah, of course. And then I had to think about it for a second. I was like, wait, that's really close to my name. He's not a pedophile, right? And he's like, no.
No, he's a cannibal.
It's a cannibal. And I'm like, oh, well, that's totally fine.
Because no one will ever think that about you.
No, I was like, cannibal's fine.
What is that you're eating right now? What are you having right now?
Just some strange meat.
Just finger
product.
sandwiches. What's the big deal?
Seriously, it's a hot dog.
Yeah. Oh.
Hey, now.
Rump roast.
So Dexter gets to experience the small joys of stalking.
Yeah.
Which was a lot of fun.
Right.
Galuzzo is what was he? He was a fitness instructor.
Yes.
No, not a fitness instructor.
He sold
selling
exercise equipment.
Yeah, because he wasn't particularly the most fit-looking dude.
Well, I don't want to talk smack, but...
Well, no, but, yeah.
It was kind of great, though. Like, his shirt was slightly small, and it was like, I'm not sure that I would buy exercise equipment from that person. But the actor was really creepy in a good way. I mean, he really kind of nailed it. It was good. He also seemed to be sizing up Dexter in a slightly flirtatious way, which was pretty great. He actually was looking at him like he wanted to eat him, which I enjoyed very much.
It was that was a fun moment, even in the room when we were making that up, like pulling out the calipers. And is this meat going to be fat? Yeah. Or not? What's it going to be? So meanwhile, can you tell me a little bit about Deborah's journey this episode? I mean, it was
it was intense. It was intense. I mean, when that idea came up in the room, it was really exciting because it's one of those things that you feel like might happen later in a season, and to put Deb confessing in episode 3, and also not at the end of an episode, to have her do it in the middle was really exciting. You know, because where do you go from there? Yeah. I mean, I think when I pitched it, it was like, let's see if we can paint ourselves into this corner and then write ourselves out of it.
Which is the best way of writing. Best television really is that. Yeah. How will someone get out of this?
Yeah. So it was a super fun thing to write. I personally think it was Jennifer Carpenter's best performance ever in the series.
Big words.
I mean, I think she knocked it out of the park.
Because it's hard. It's some actors don't play the inebriated. That's a tough thing to do, to play it real. Yeah. And pained and everything.
Yeah, I mean, inebriated and, just so much emotional trauma that she had been through. It was really remarkable to watch her play it, It was great. It was super great.
But confession is good for the soul.
Indeed. It was also really fun to watch her play drunk several different ways, because she also, I love the moment where she realizes that she's run into the meter and she just busts out laughing. Yeah. It was great. Because it wasn't written that way. It wasn't written that she starts laughing. And,
she finds things.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. I felt like it was really interesting to watch her try to do the right thing. Right. She goes in, she confesses, she tries to do the right thing, and Quinn doesn't believe her. So it almost feels like the universe is conspiring against her. Like at every turn, she tries to do the right. This is the last time for her to try to make a comeback and get back to the moral center that she used to be.
Yeah, even if the consequences are jail.
Right, she's totally willing to do it. She surrenders over to the universe, right? Yeah. She surrenders to the universe that she's going to do the right thing, consequences be damned. And she can't do, she's totally blocked. It's amazing.
And then Quinn, it's great that the person she ends up confessing to is Quinn, because Quinn has his own feelings for her.
Right. Yeah. And he's completely willing to believe that she's just troubled at this point, So I don't know. I had a lot of fun with that. Yeah. We all did. We all had a lot of fun with that.
It was a beautiful, exciting moment, especially when Dexter comes barging in there with Dr. Vogel.
Right.
Having to explain everything on the fly, which is sort of Dexter at his best.
Right.
When
having he's dancing and trying to get out of it. But I think,
But rarely the stakes are this high.
Right. But usually I feel like Dexter gets some degree of joy out of getting out of it. And in this case, at the end, his revelation that he consumes everyone he loves is like the most self-loathing thing. Yeah. One of the most self-loathing things he's ever said, I think.
It was an interesting kill scene, because usually in talking with, when actually speaking with his victims, he realizes something, like the coyotes or and all those different things. And this one, Galuzzo doesn't say that much, really.
No, and in the scene, he has the meat tenderizer, and he's kind of beating up on himself. Yeah. It's almost like a self-flagellation kind of moment. And it feels more like he goes to kill the guy because of his own self-loathing, that he's trying to kill that part of himself. Yeah.
And it's not working.
Right.
By the end of that episode, he understands where he is, which is so...
And why he needs Vogel so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and also for him to turn to her for help. I mean, that's the other piece of it, is that he's so convinced that he has this covered. He has this covered. He has this covered.
Because he has his whole life.
And Deb this thing has spun beyond his control. So this is one of the first moments where he actually has to turn to someone and ask for their help, which is incredibly vulnerable for him. And the only reason he's able to do it is because he cares about Deb so much, which is just, turning the volume up on his humanity as we move toward,
And it's so hard for him, because he wants everything to be under his control.
Right. Right. And the tough part about feelings and humanity is that things become less and less in your control. Yeah. And so if we're talking about, approaching the final season of a series that's about a monster becoming human, it's interesting to, highlight those parts of his humanity, I think.
Yeah. And still get a good, fun bad guy.
Totally.
I love that moment when he's walking around the apartment.
Yeah, and he sees the stew.
Yeah.
It's such a fun shot. Wow. Just gross.
In the
It was
fridge.
so gross. Yeah, the props meetings on the episode were really pretty foul.
Yeah, walk people through that. Like, when we write an episode, we don't just turn in a script and walk away.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you get involved in everything when you're producing an episode.
Right, that's true.
Which is like you're saying, the props meetings with Josh Meltzer,
right,
our prop master, and
we had a show and tell of like pig body parts and stuff. To be like, this is what's in the container. Would you like them frosted or not frosted? I'm like, that really? This is the conversation I'm having at my job today? Like, yay! I'm like, what should the labels say? You know?
Yeah, the brains and then
there was much discussion about whether we wanted actual garlic in the garlic sauce or whether it should just look garlicky. You know, it's like I don't really know. I hadn't thought of it.
If it helps the performance,
yeah,
make it garlicky.
It actually, at the end of the day, it was garlic. It smelled like garlic.
That's good.
Yeah, I tried to stay away. It creeped me out.
And then you meet with the art department.
Yep.
What's that? How's that work out? Like, I mean, I could say too, but what do you say? You know, look, we get pulled into Scott Buck's office,
right?
And then we're presented because when an episode comes out, when a script comes out, art department locations get together and they travel all over Long Beach and San Pedro and, you know, Los Angeles, wherever, and pull together all the different locations that are on stage. Yeah, and run it through and say, what about this? What about that? And
then they decorate it depending on how we want it to look.
Yeah. And then graphics come into it, like Kevin over there, Kevin Eglund. He brings up all sorts of as we know on this show, Dexter sits down at his computer. I mean, we've written thousands of these scenes, it feels like, where Dexter sits down in front of his computer, starts typing in and doing a search or looks up on APHIS, and these are all things that are created whole cloth by Kevin, and we got to say, okay, this is right, this is wrong, change this.
Right. That's cool.
Books, yeah. It's sort of fun being a part of creating this whole world.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and soon you're going to be, holy smokes. Right? You're going to be, you and Ryan Murphy are going to be doing that, the Open?
Yeah,
creating whole other worlds?
Yeah, it's exciting. We'll see. We're shooting a pilot in October.
I can't imagine what those meetings are going to be like.
Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, it's a lot of discussion about who will show what on television. And how much can we see?
Yeah, you're going to have a lot of fun with that.
I hope so. I hope that it won't be ruined forever.
What's Eating Dexter Morgan?
Yep. A lot.
By Lauren Gussis.
Indeed.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. And for the record, Lauren Gussis is good people. You don't have to answer back. It's just true. Cut it. That's it. We're done. Hey, we're sitting here with Sean Patrick Flanery, a.k.a. Jacob Elway. Do people call you Jake on set?
No, they
He's
go,
a
hey,
Jacob.
you. Or, who's that dude over there? That guy, is he in the scene? Bring him on here.
Where is he?
Yeah, exactly. Dude, I go by any of those code names.
Yeah, playing a private investigator this season.
That is correct, yeah. Started my own private investigation firm, ex-cop.
Which is how you knew Deb, I guess.
Exactly, yeah. And,
back in the day.
Yep, and she comes to work for me, and shenanigans ensue.
It does. But what's fun is it's always not your normal. When you think of private investigators, dicks, whatever, you know, back in the day, that's what they called them, right? In the Humphrey Bogart movies.
Yes.
Private dicks. They were always sort of shady characters who were half drunk and, you know, behind louvered windows.
Yep.
But Elway is not that way.
Yeah, he's a little bit different. You know, it's a modern-day private investigation firm. It's, he's a businessman.
Yeah.
I think he...
Good suits.
Yeah, wonderful suits.
Are you going to take them home? Are you taking any home?
Absolutely I am. Are you kidding me? Those things are tailor-fitted to me like a glove, man. And they're all nice and expensive, you know?
Yeah.
But I think he thought, the private sector is more his speed than the police force, and so he cut himself loose.
Yeah, so it looks like he makes a lot more dough working that way.
Yeah, it's doing pretty well for him.
Also, people may not notice in the background, along with the love of fast cars, right?
Absolutely.
Lots of little cars, much like Jay Leno, I guess.
Exactly like Jay Leno. Yes.
Elway also is practiced in, right?
He's a samurai.
Yeah.
He's a samurai. I mean, let's just throw it out there. He is a samurai, and he's got his blade behind his desk in case anybody mouths off.
Yeah, and the short blade too, just in case you got to commit.
It's all about ranges. Yeah. He's got the long weapon for distance. He's got the short one if they close rapidly. He's thought this office out very well.
Or hattie.
Yeah. Or if it really goes haywire, he locks the doors and he takes himself out. The man way.
Elway's awesome.
Yes.
So when we first meet Elway, let's sort of talk through the first 3 episodes, since we're talking about episode 803. What's eating Dexter Morgan. You're part of this strange introduction of Deb, She's not the Deborah we saw on the previous 7 seasons of Dexter. She's a bit more of a mess.
Yeah, I think the ebb and flow of anybody's life. She's definitely in a dip in her life, and she seeks different opportunities, and this is one where Jacob Elway comes into play. They team up. I guess I can't. I got to keep some things close to the vest. Yeah. But
we're pretty much talking all the way through the when the two of you work together, finding out that the husband, in fact, is sleeping with a or is not really sleeping at all.
They weren't doing any sleeping. Yeah, I didn't even see any post-coital in there.
No,
it was just coital.
Big boobed coital.
Exactly. There was a lot of coitling going on, and I witnessed it firsthand. Unfortunately, I got Lasix about a week later, so I didn't get the tack sharp version that I'll see on screen.
It's true. You get that HD going.
Yes, but I do after seeing the dailies. The gentleman playing the philanderer was not enjoying himself at all.
I think he's a little nervous.
I think he was. Yeah, performance anxiety.
Doing that in a van.
Yeah.
Some people can do it in a van. Some people can't.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly. He was a canter. That's different than a galloper.
That's correct. However, the woman was as you said,
stellar.
Yes.
Yes. She was. She had an amazing set of personality.
Used it well.
Yes.
Used it well. So another thing that's sort of fun about the Elway character, on top of all this, is that there's this feeling that there's this past relationship between the two, between Deborah and Elway, and it sort of feels like Elway might like Deb a little bit.
Yeah, there's definitely something going on. I don't think she's hard to like, at least, even without knowing her personality, just from a visual standpoint. I think all the gentlemen will concur with that.
Huzzah!
Yeah, exactly. I can't really tell you where it goes, but there's definitely a look of that nature in his regard.
Which is funny because he's the boss. And I don't think he cares.
Yes, but, a beautiful woman will steer us all astray.
So in some ways, it's sort of the classic femme fatale meeting up with the private investigator story a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit with a contemporary twist. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And so when we first meet, it's through Dexter, who in that first episode doesn't seem to like Elway that much. Sort of puts up with him a little bit, like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I guess anybody that's involved with your sister, you look at with a certain tinted lens, but can't really get into too much of the backstory. But obviously, there weren't some wonderful relations whenever I left the force. So I think he definitely doesn't look at me as somebody that he enjoys or looks forward to.
What's fun too is if ever people are in Los Angeles, they can see the building that you are working in. It's actually here in Sunset Gower Lot, the big giant Technicolor building.
Yes.
And it should be made clear that's not Elway's entire building. It's just like a floor.
No. It's the entire building.
Oh, yes. Excellent. Is that good?
Come on. Yeah, man. I got 13 floors of this stuff.
Were you, did you watch Dexter before this? Or
I did not. I had never seen one episode of Dexter. Not because it's not something that I would fall in love with, but man, I got to tell you, it's like right now the shows on cable are so amazing that I mean, any one of them you can get addicted to, and I just have some high priority tasks that I need to get done in the day.
Yeah,
becoming addicted to a show where I'm going to sit in front of the TV for 40 hours straight, rifling through seasons. I literally try and steer clear of things that I know I'm going to fall in love with for that very reason.
Yeah.
Because it's like a video game to me. It makes my life just incredibly unproductive. So, but having said that, I went and I did my due diligence. I went and started with season 1, and interesting thing about that is, I mean, when we did the first read through, I went and I sat down in the room and I realized there's a lot of people missing.
Yeah.
And I hadn't caught up yet.
Oh,
so I didn't know why they died, how they died.
Where's Dokes?
Yeah, exactly. Come on, man. I came here to get autographs. And then there's some extra people that I didn't know when they came into the fold. So it took me a minute to get up to speed. But it's an amazing show, and I don't say that just because I happen to get a part in the last season. It's definitely something that I would have watched religiously. So
because I couldn't help but notice that you do jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu now and everything, huh?
I do, yeah. It's a pretty big part of my life. Been
how many hours a day is that?
You know what? I have 2 academies here in LA, so I spend quite a bit of time on the mat. Started martial arts when I was 9, specifically Brazilian jiu-jitsu a bunch of years ago back at the Hickson Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Academy, who was my first instructor.
Gracie, like Hoyce or
Hoyce's brother is Hickson.
Oh, Hickson.
And Henry Akins, who's still a very dear friend of mine today, he's the head instructor, and he was my first instructor at the Hickson Gracie Academy. He and I train every day. He's one of the best jiu-jitsu cats I know on the globe.
Wow. And
if anyone wants to come train, it's dynamicsmma.com. Come check us out. I'm pretty much on the mat every day.
Oh, wow. So you could get destroyed by by Elway.
Or you can destroy Elway. It's your choice.
It'd be fun if we could get Dexter and Elway to fight.
That would be good. That would be good. I'd be happy to get beat up by Dexter Morgan. Because he's a jiu-jitsu expert.
That's right. Yeah.
That's funny because I was watching the episodes, and actually Anthony Clark, a buddy of mine who works at one of my academies, said, when I first signed on to do Dexter, he says, Dexter's a jiu-jitsu expert. And I said, you mean the actor or the character? He's like, no, the character. It comes out in season 1 that he studied advanced jiu-jitsu at college or something. Yeah. And I thought, well, oh my God, how ironic if he ends up kicking my ass on the show.
Yeah, he had a good fight with Dokes, where Doke leans in and he's like, "You're no lab geek."
That's genius.
Yeah, because he's grabbing his neck and doing all sorts of. Yeah, it was a fun fight.
I love it.
Yeah. So you, on top of that, you're acting in almost everything, all over the place. On top, could we talk? Let's talk a little bit about you, and then we'll get back to Elway in a second.
Sure. Yeah.
Young Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that was pretty much my first big gig.
Yeah, that had to be just ridiculous. I mean, that was a giant show. Indiana Jones. What?
It was crazy. And every door that's open to me today was open to me by Young Indiana Jones. Having said that, outside of my mom, I think there was 3 other people that saw the show. So that makes
I watched
4
it.
total.
No, yeah,
then there's 2 left that I haven't met. My mom, you, and I'm still looking for the other 2. It was probably the biggest thing I've ever been a part of. It was George Lucas, and it was a huge opportunity for me.
Yeah.
I really wish more people had seen the show. But because I'm super, super proud of it, and I got to work with amazing directors, and every time you looked at every episode, the cast list was kind of astonishing with this one character that nobody'd ever heard of. I mean, literally, it was Vanessa Redgrave, Elizabeth Hurley, Christopher Lee, Sean Patrick, Flanery, who's this guy? So the list of actors that I was paired with was it was just A-list.
Were you aware of it, at that point? Or was
yeah. I mean, I knew who everybody was, and it was a wonderful opportunity. I basically spent 6 years in film school, learning everything about, the trade.
Did you always want to act? Was this something that you...
Nah, as in everything in life, I followed a girl. That's not a joke. It's a true story, man. I was going to University of St. Thomas, and I saw the most beautiful girl I had ever seen at the time leaving this building every Monday morning. So obviously, being a dude, I dropped an English class and I signed up for whatever the hell they were teaching in that building. And it ended up being theater. It's a true story.
Wow.
So I signed up for that. And then I ended up writing at Peaches Children's Theater and deciding, when I graduate, I'm going to move to L.A. and produce a play and see what happens. And I moved out to L.A., and that's you know,
It happened.
Then it, you know, it, and I haven't had to get a real job since. I've been really lucky. You know, I mean, I've been very lucky, very grateful that, you know, I'm employed in an industry that, lo and behold, I would actually do for free. Yeah. Don't tell the producers, but
your agents are just like, can you delete that?
Shut up,
Get rid of
up.
that.
Shut up.
But you just said free.
Exactly.
We can't get 10% of that free.
I can't survive on 10% of free. But you know, it's been good, you know. And then I got Young Indiana Jones, and through a long process of auditions and whatnot, and it just kind of took off from there. So I've been enjoying it considerably.
Because there was like there was movies after that, like the Indiana Jones TV movies after that too, right? It was on for a couple seasons,
we did a few years of episodes as a regular series, and then we did a couple of years of 2-hour movie of the weeks. Yeah. For a total of 52 or 54, I believe. They're available on DVD now. But I mean, it's one of the things I've done that I'm the most proud of. You know, it's
when you run around, you hear the theme song in your head every once in a while.
It's a soundtrack. I don't hear it anymore, but everybody else can hear it. When I walk into the grocery store, they duck for the whip. There he is.
That's fun. And then, I mean, you just worked solid through that whole time, and then we worked. Oddly enough, my very first TV job was on Touched by an Angel.
Oh yeah.
So season 8, where you I think you were killed for.
I was
crimes.
on death row, and I was put to death.
The Angels were sent to work undercover with you.
Absolutely, they were.
I think Brian Bird wrote that episode. But they worked undercover, trying to get you to, I think, I don't know,
come to peace.
Come to peace with your father or something like that. Yeah. And you're like, no, and then they light up and go, do it, and you're like, okay.
What really happened? I mean, the subplot of that, or the plot that I gave myself, is they came. You know, their intention and their goal was for me to make peace, but I misunderstood them. I thought they said make peas. So for my last supper, that's what I requested, and I went happily, thinking, okay, they wanted me to make peas.
Done,
easy.
Holy crap, you're angels?
Yeah, I had no idea. You look like real people.
Yeah, it was fun. That was they shot that in Utah.
Yeah, Salt Lake City, Utah. I had a great time. I got some amazing, you know, passionate fan letters from that episode. It's crazy how, you know, I've done some, you know, some films and a series in my time, but you do something. One specific episode seems to touch and reach people like that. A similar thing, I did an episode of Criminal Minds, and I get kind of the same response. It's funny how like just one tiny little episode, you know, recurs and repeats on, you know, on somebody's channel
forever,
and people really plug into that one specific episode. It's an interesting, you know, study on, you know, society, what, you know, the different episodes that they plug into, but it's you know, it's very flattering.
You made them cry.
I got
feel
good
something.
response.
It's been. And then Boondock Saints. I'll talk about that a little bit. I mean,
sure, man.
I love that movie. It's which you and the guy from Walking Dead did.
Norman Reedus.
Yeah.
The guy from Walking Dead. Yeah, you know that dude from Walking Dead. I think his name is Daryl Dixon.
The guy with the crossbow, I think. Yeah.
Daryl Dixon.
I think he single-handedly brought back the use of a crossbow on television. Suddenly everybody's using crossbows.
But he's Fonzie on that show. He is absolutely Fonzie on this show, man. It's like, you know, that was about, you know, Happy Days was about Richie Cunningham. No. By episode 3, they were like, Fonzie.
Yeah.
We're making Fonzie's on the lunchbox.
It's, you know,
Richie C's on the thermos. You know, Walking Dead, it's going to be Daryl Dixon on the lunchbox. Nah, he's my boy. We've been good friends for a long time, and it's killer to see him, you know, have such a meteoric rise on a amazing written show like that. It's just, it's neat to watch.
But Boondock Saints.
Yeah, you know, he and I did that together and had a wonderful time. Amazing script when we read it. You know, he and I both campaigned pretty hard to get the roles.
Did you guys know each other at that point?
We did. We'd already met each other. And you know, then finally when we got an opportunity to make it, you know, I mean, in independent filmmaking, there's so many unknown variables that come together. Certainly there's no recipe to make a cult hit.
Yeah.
You know, if there was, you could bottle it and sell it repeatedly. But you never really know, even though you're starting out with an amazing script. And sure enough, we made this film, and it came out and went to a theater for a hot 3 minutes and then left and was never heard of again. Then, you know, a year later, Blockbuster released it with 2 copies, and then 3 weeks after that, there was 4 copies. Then there was a shelf. Then there was a section. Then there was a whole wall.
Everybody was talking about it.
Then he and I would, he'd call me, be like, dude, I just saw, you and I's face on a T-shirt. I was like, what are you talking about, man? And then sure enough, I would see it too. And then, then he'd send me a picture. He's like, dude, I was walking down in New York and this guy had a tattoo of our faces holding guns. I was like, you're no. Send me the picture. And then he'd send it to me. It was just kind of a weird organic process, but it's wonderful to be a part of something like that that really spoke to people on a certain level. So it's it's a wonderful part in my career. It's a highlight for me.
Yeah. And then there's comic books about your characters and everything.
There's comic books. There's all kind of stuff, man.
Was it fun working with the director? That's another weird thing about that movie was that it became a cult hit, and then the making of it became a big. I mean, it was the script itself was a big story.
Huge story behind the script. Huge story behind the making of it.
It just was giant everywhere.
Yeah. It was a big story in all regards. I'm flattered to be a part of it because I absolutely love the script, man. So
had to be fun just to dive into it.
Dudes being dudes with guns.
Yeah. It doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, exactly. And Julie Benz was in Boondock too.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Was Dexter's wife.
Yeah. Was she alive or dead at that point?
She had not died yet.
She hadn't died yet.
Yeah, she hadn't died yet. Right. She was alive and kicking.
So who knew?
Yeah.
Suddenly
the Boondock curse took her out. She had no idea.
You heard it here first. That's how it happened. And then that sort of brings us forward to now. So you've been acting since what, like 20 years now? More than that?
Since back when it was called thesping. I started as a thespian, then I transferred into acting in the modern day.
No, since after college.
Yeah.
It's been a while. I've like I said, I haven't had to get a real job in a long time.
That's a good
knock on some.
That's actually wood
right there. Yeah.
And you're from? Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
Born in Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Oh wow.
So I'm what they call it. But I moved to Texas when I was 3 and grew up in Texas, small town outside of Houston. So I'm a Texas Southerner.
That's fun.
Yeah.
You miss Texas? You go back a lot, or?
Man, I love Texas. I absolutely love. Austin's one of my favorite cities on the globe.
Yes.
Not just in Texas, not just in the United States, on the globe. I miss it. You can walk into a grocery store here in LA and say hi to one of the cashiers, and they'll look at you like you're a nut job.
Right.
You're like, how dare you address me? Who are you? Where'd you come from?
Oh wait, look at I have a tattoo of your face on my arm.
Yes, exactly.
It's one or the other.
Yeah, exactly. In Texas, you can walk in, you can say good morning. They'll say good morning. Hey, good morning. How are you? It's I miss that kind of friendly nature. But I love LA.
Yeah, me too.
I love LA. I mean, I was actually angry at my parents when I first came out here in between semesters in college, and I was a lifeguard in Newport Beach, and I realized, wait a minute, you mean there's a place where the summers don't get over 80 degrees? And there's no humidity? How dare you raise me in Texas? I was angry at him.
Because it's like 100 degrees and humid near Houston.
Oh, yeah. I mean, one of the biggest accomplishments in my life that I could never replicate to this day is I remember in college I had a VW with no AC. Oof. And I used to take girls on dates, and they would stay until I dropped them off. I couldn't pull that off today to save my life. If I picked up a girl in a VW with no AC in Texas, she'd go, "Are you kidding? Yeah, drop me off." We're both wringing wet by the end of the day.
Yeah, uncomfortable dating in Texas.
Exactly, yeah.
Which brings us all the way through to let's talk about Elway. Let's get back to Elway. Let's get back to Dexter. I guess this is the Dexter podcast.
Yeah.
How'd you get did you have to audition for the role, or did you?
Yeah, Sean Dawson.
That's
absolutely. He called. I read it, and then he called back and said, "Do you want to do it?" And I said something to the effect of, "Gosh darn lutely." I said, you know what? Successful TV show? Nah, not for me.
Give me something else.
I'd rather continue doing independent films that nobody's seen. It's an honor to be a part of a show that's got that stellar of a run.
So we were excited when we heard it was you.
Well, I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it.
It was a you know, I'm a big fan.
I appreciate it, man. So it was a wonderful opportunity, you know, a great cast. And, you know, it's a production that's running like a well-oiled machine at this point. I am bummed that I came on the lot last season because I would have loved to have done this for a few seasons. But it's been a great experience so far, man. It's been a great experience.
And hey, so yeah, let's get back to the episode. So first episode, Elway, just to recap that one.
Yeah, first episode, pretty much just an introduction of my character, what he's doing, what his relationship is with Deb. Then the second episode, we kind of get into our first little project together.
Yeah. He feels sort of protective of Deborah.
Yeah, you know, like I said, you know, a beautiful girl will lead us in different directions. And, you know, the possessive nature of one's masculinity will rear its ugly head. And it certainly does with Elway.
Yeah.
Elway. As I used
His to call boy, Elroy.
Elroy, though. It's Jake and Elroy.
Yeah.
Did you never connect on that one?
No.
Blues Brothers, Jake and Elroy.
Oh, that's right.
Jake and Elroy. So I always call myself Elroy for that very reason.
Elwood.
Jake and Elroy.
Yeah.
And
I got the Blues Brothers on the wall.
Exactly. Everybody called him Elroy in the Blues Brothers. Elwood.
You see that moment you're talking about when you're in, you know, Deborah had gone off on this sort of skip trace to find Briggs. You know, this scumbag guy who's a smash and grab artist in jewelry stores or whatever.
Yep.
And so she's working undercover, you know, and actually sleeping with the guy. No contact with Elway at all, which is sort of you had this interesting relationship with her that you let her do whatever she wants, basically.
Yeah, I give her pretty much free rein because she's good at her job. Then when she doesn't turn up for a while, it kind of makes me a little nervous. Then when I realize that she's gone undercover so deep, she's actually sleeping with the guy.
Yeah, doing coke, everything.
Yeah, a lot of bad things with this guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, it makes Jacob a little jealous, a little possessive.
Yeah.
And it takes their relationship in a different turn, I think. So
yeah, it's fun when they're in Briggs' apartment. After she shows the key, she's like, "Look at this! Look what I got!" And you're like, okay, well, let's go check it out.
It's like, damn, all right.
And she breaks in, which is weird because I imagine, you know, in our backstory, that we were thinking about Elway hiring her. You know, it's a big get for a private eye firm to get a lieutenant of homicide.
Yeah.
You know, and yet here she is breaking into places she could care less.
Well, like I said, you know, she's at a different place in her life, and there's a lot of things going on. She's affected by a lot of different variables for the first time in her life, and I can only imagine how that would affect an individual. You know, so much so that they almost turn their back on everything that they think is real, everything that proposed itself to be real. And I certainly think that she's in that area. You know, the dawn of her career, of her life, and
it's funny that Elway doesn't try to fix her. You don't try to fix her at all.
You know, some people are receptive to fixing. Other people, you know, butt heads a little bit. She's a head butter.
She would be, you're right.
Yeah.
And a biter, I imagine.
Yes, she is actually.
And there's that great moment you're talking about when you see the picture of Briggs, and you're like, "You're sleeping with this guy?"
Yeah.
That's the first. I think that's the first hint of jealousy. The first hint of, oh, there's something more going on here.
Yeah. Well,
just a boss.
Yeah. You know, like I said, that's a difficult thing for any dude to acknowledge. You know, you're attracted to this girl, and then you realize she's sleeping with some schlep, drug dealer. You know.
Yeah. And you're such a nice guy.
You start comparing all the things you have to offer. I could buy coke. I could get a nicer hotel room than that.
That's right.
I wash my hair.
Look at this suit.
Yeah.
I'm a friggin' samurai.
Yeah. Have you seen the short range and the long range weapons?
I have a code. It's a Bushido code. Yeah, that was fun. And then, which brings us to episode 3, where we get our first chance to really see Elway and Deborah work together, and work well together, actually.
Yeah, I believe that's the episode where we're staked out on location. We have our kind of first case, and
woman comes in, wealthy, probably the typical sort of client that you guys that Elway investigations would get.
Yeah, typical bread and butter case for a PI firm. And I think it's the first time that you really get to see Jake and Deb's exchange.
Yeah.
You know, and see where the relationship is headed, how they work together, and
even down to the drinks when she's sitting across and she's a mess.
Yeah.
And there's that jealousy rears its ugly head again when you're like, so who's that guy that dropped you off when you were wearing the clothes that you wore yesterday?
Walk of shame.
Yeah.
Walk of shame. How dare you do a walk of shame into my office? Who threw a leg over that, and why was it not me? How dare you?
That's just subtext.
Come into my office with the stink of another man. Hose it off before you come to work, baby. Hose it off.
There's just some simple rules in Elway's.
Yeah, man code. You don't bring another dude's aroma into my house. Hose it down, baby.
She did say she had some deodorant in her desk.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of good that would have done.
Clean it, don't cover it.
I like these, the code of Elway here.
Of course,
people should be taking these things down.
Yeah.
So hired by this wealthy woman. Let's go find out. And then when we were in the room when we were writing, trying to come up with this episode, we were sort of thinking of that moment in the car as their first date, sort of.
Yeah, I mean, it's a first opportunity where they got to sit down with no distractions and talk and communicate.
Other than the big boobed woman.
It was some natural porn going on.
Yeah.
It was part of my greater plan.
Yeah.
I basically took her to see porn without taking her to see
like
porn.
Travis Bickle.
Exactly. And it worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
I love that moment when you're just sort of nonchalantly just taking picture after picture with that high-end camera, and then you're like, what do you think of these shots?
Look at that, baby.
Yeah.
You want to reenact?
Yeah, it was good.
That was their first little moment.
Yep. And you're both sort of laughing, and I forget which, I think she calls you.
She does. Yeah.
But that was another sort of Elway man code moment, too, where it's like, wait, you're still friends? He's still friends with you after you rejected his marriage proposal?
Yeah, what kind of dude does that?
Yeah.
What kind of dude does that?
Yeah.
Obviously one of Deb's dudes. She's a britches wearer, though, Deb. You know what I mean?
She does.
She doesn't rock a skirt, this one. This one's claiming some alpha.
That's right. Absolutely. In her boots. Actually, she's not wearing a lot of boots this season. She's wearing little gym shoes.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that was fun. I love that moment. You handled that well.
Yeah, it's
I feel like it's a moment that he really became a real person, sort of,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's some humanity behind there, as much as he's a kind of a arrogant, stuffy, some people would say kind of a douchey dude. But I got to say, it's wonderful working with Jennifer. She's one of the best actresses I've worked with. One of the most grounded, one of the most authentic, real, connected women I've ever worked with, and it's been a pleasure. It's too bad it's only one season.
Yeah.
She's a killer actress, though. Killer actress.
Which then, so they have this moment. She calls you. You laugh it off. It's all very fun. And then, which leads to, it seems like everything's going well, basically. Like maybe this is a slight turn for Deborah. Which leads to the moment when the woman comes in to see the proof. Which I love that you're sort of like what's his name? Gitz? Chinatown.
Oh, yeah.
Just go right to we have your proof. You slide the file over, and inside there's her husband just bouncing with a nude woman on his lap.
He was bouncing and behaving.
Yeah, misbehaving.
A lot like that hair shampoo commercial.
What?
And then we told two friends, and they told two friends, and so on.
So she looks at those pictures, and her response is,
I don't know. It's not him. I can't tell. It's not close. It's not tack sharp. It could be anybody.
Yeah.
Of course, honey. You're right. That could be anybody.
Yeah, that was the fun part about it. There was no fight. Like, Deb is like, what the f*** are you talking about?
Yeah.
Whereas Elway, always a professional,
just
says, huh?
Well, you've seen it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody really wants to up front go, oh, yep, you're right, that's him. Let me start filing papers tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's a shocker, That's a shocker. That's, finding out your son has, like, chopped up people in his freezer. I know you go, oh, well, bummer. We'd have to kill this
or
one.
your brother.
Yeah. Or your brother. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
you sort of Elway creates this big turn in Deborah with that statement, You know, some people just can't face the truth.
Yeah, yeah. It's and it's a interesting parallel, you know. Yeah. But it's very factual. See it every day, certainly in that line of work.
Yeah, it seems like that's I think it's fun about Elway. He seems like someone that just looks truth in the face all the time. You know.
Yeah, I mean he's a what you see is what you get kind of dude.
Yeah,
you know, there's no affectations, no fronts,
no apologies, sort of. Yeah,
samurai, Bushido.
That's right.
Nice suits,
fast cars,
fast cars,
lots of orange,
lots of orange.
Yeah, which feels Miami. It's good. It's a cool office.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jacob Elway, man. I look forward to seeing what's going to happen in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Myself as well. I'm digging doing it, and I can't wait to keep it going.
Yeah, hopefully, who knows, maybe there'll be an Elway spinoff. Elway Investigations.
The Bushido returns with nicer suits. You thought you saw nice suits?
Just wait. You got some big stuff coming soon, too?
Got a film coming out at the end of the year called Broken Horses, which is a wonderful Indian director, Vinod Chopra. He's basically the Spielberg of India.
Oh, wow.
And it was his first American film. Wonderful script. So I got that coming out at the end of the year.
Is it like a Western or something?
No. It's a material-driven, heavy drama piece, contemporary, but that was a great experience. So that's what's coming out at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And other than that, and completing up a season of Dexter.
And then kicking ass on the mats.
Yep, at the Academy pretty much every day. Again, Dynamics with IXMMA.com. Check it out. I'm there every day.
Have you ever competed, like, actually?
Yeah. I did tournaments for a number of years. I haven't done a tournament, I believe, since 2008.
Were you in a cage?
5 years ago. No, I did a couple that were inside of a hurricane fence down in San Pedro when I first started. But then I got smart. I realized, wait a minute, I'm an actor. I can't really have a messed up face.
Yeah.
So I gotta shelve those plans.
Yeah, because your nose looks like perfect.
It's actually been snapped a couple times.
Oh,
but,
really?
Yeah, oddly enough, it healed in a kind of natural, nosy look. Same thing with my ears. You know, everybody goes, well, don't you get cauliflower ears? It's like, well, mine, they're hard as concrete, but they luckily enough, they solidified in a normal ear shape. Huh. So I got lucky.
You get punched a lot in?
Accidentally, you always get hit. You know,
yeah.
Every time I come back from training, I got something on my face, a scratch, a mark, a bruise. It's you can't be that close with somebody actively trying to choke you unconscious or break your arm without inadvertently suffering accidental blows somewhere. So,
have you broken things? Doing it?
Yeah.
Really?
I've had both knees done.
What?
But that's more cumulative effect. I was on my first. I'm from Texas again, so I was on my first football team when I was 6.
Okay.
Two teams a year. So all the way through high school, that kind of blow on your knees. Eventually, it wasn't one injury with my knees in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
It was just the cumulative effect of getting older and being an athlete for that many years. So I've had both knees done. Had my wrist. Tore the rhomboid muscle in my back. But those are just things that you go through in life. It's not unique to jiu-jitsu or martial arts. It's just anybody that competes, for that many years doing random things. I had a half pipe in my backyard skateboard, and we were talking about walking up here. It's like, you just fall off that so many times, and you're kind of cuckoo,
Yeah.
And the same thing happens to the rest of your body. Your joints just, take a beating. So
you train just as hard when you have like a role like this, or
yeah. I shot a scene today. I'm wrapped, and I'll go straight to the Academy from here. So
wow,
yeah.
That's got to be a fun part about acting is sure you got to show up at 6:30 in the morning for hair and makeup, but then your days like you walked up here at 8:30 basically. You're like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm in and out before people wake up, so it's. It's good. I mean, and oddly enough, I've managed to make a career in this industry with I think I've shot one thing in Los Angeles.
For real?
For real.
Wow.
And then I get Dexter, and it's about a block from my house on the studio. Like, yeah, it's killer. I mean, it just feels so. You feel like a real actor coming onto like a set on a studio lot. It's just so different than. In Alberta, Canada, in the wilderness. It's just, in a styrofoam cup with a couple Cheetos and an M&M for craft service table.
Yeah. No, we got good craft service here.
Oh, man, are you kidding me? Craft service blows me away here.
Trucks showing up all the time.
Yeah, man.
It's a good time. And then a whole set devoted to you.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Lots of glass. Good times. Yeah, it's been great. So excited! Can't wait to see what's going to happen next.
Likewise, so am I. You know, it's and it being the final season, I'm excited to see how it wraps up. You know,
yeah.
I'm excited to be a part of that kind of finale. You know,
yeah.
So hopefully I stick around long enough.
Yeah, you never. That is the fun part. You never know with Dexter.
Yeah, yeah.
Bad things could happen. He could become protective of his sister.
Chachi could slice and dice.
Yeah. Who knows what a private investigator could find out if he actually digs in a little.
Yeah. And Jake is a curious individual.
Yeah. It's super good. Well, hey, that's the end of our podcast. I want to thank you, Sean Patrick Flanery, for,
thank you guys
for
very
taking
much.
the time in your busy schedule.
I think we already like opened the curtain on that busy schedule. We already said I was wrapped, so I think all the people out there know. They're like, it's not a busy schedule. The cat was wrapped at 8:30.
He's got to get on the mat.
He's going to go straight to craft service, that huge craft service truck, and then he's going to go train.
He's like, I'm back.
Busy schedule.
And of course, Rob G, the sound producer guy.
Thank you.
Any questions you wanted to ask? I know you are. He was ecstatic when he heard you were coming in. And
That's funny because I walked in, he was like, "What's up, dude?"
Well, he's trying to keep it. He's trying to keep it low key. That's Rob G excited.
That's
my level of excitement. No, I've always been a big fan of Sean, and I'm a huge Boondock Saints fan.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
It's one of the movies that me and all my friends in New York passed around. And kind of saw it grow. So so when I heard you were going to be on the show, my favorite show, it's kind of like, oh, that's awesome.
That's cool.
Can't wait to see what he does.
Are you on Twitter or anything like that?
I am. Sean Flanery, at Sean Flanery. I also have a blog. It's called shineuntiltomorrow.com.
Oh.
And
what do you blog about?
Health and fitness, and pretty much just life stories, short stories, and it's kind of taken a life on its own. I started it and it became wildly successful. To the point where like people want to advertise on it and stuff like that.
That's good.
And I'm actively engaged in Twitter with all of my friends, and I engage every day, answer questions, post videos, post all kind of stuff. So it's a fun little relationship. It's a wonderful time too to be involved in the acting industry and the entertainment industry, because there's that reciprocal current that's live with the people out there. With fans of all mediums, they have direct, immediate access to you, and if you choose to engage it, they are willing to listen and give you feedback, both positive and negative.
Yeah.
But it's been a wonderful experience for me on Twitter. I do most of my stuff on Twitter. I'm on there
people
every
have
day.
Elway questions that could
absolutely fire them away. At Sean Flanery, and the blog is shineuntiltomorrow.com. And if anybody wants to train, Dynamics, DYNAMIX MMA.com. Check me out. I'm there pretty much every day.
Right on. I think it makes me want to go get in a mat, maybe.
Dude, I'm wrapped. Let's go.
It's been a long time. And I'm Scott Reynolds. I'm a writer-producer here on Dexter, as you know. You can find me at JScottAmy on Twitter. And I also try to answer questions here and there, and post pictures and behind-the-scenes stuff. It's a good time. Yeah. We'll post a picture of this.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah. Well, that's it. This is the end. But it's got to happen again and again. It has to happen. See you next week.